Going outside, just like I like it.
That's a pretty big fish to fry. That's a pretty big fish to fry. My, oh, my. That's a pretty big fish to fry. That's a pretty big fish to fry. My, oh, my. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. That was a lie. My, oh, my.
My, oh my. Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday, April the 4th in the evening. If you're checking us out, Facebook Live. What up, Joe Cicala? If you're checking us out for the next couple days, it's probably Thursday, April the 5th, or Friday, April the 6th. That's kind of how the calendar works. It's Low and Outside, lowandoutside.com, at Low Outside Sport. For those of you on the socials, if you caught Facebook, you were watching the Mets today. That's a good time. Welcome, everybody. We do appreciate it. Let's get this party started.
Why don't you go back home to your street malls and drink your Zimas and Smirnoff Ices? Oh, yeah! The greatest beer in all the
Somebody from the bar.
Yeah, I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of parched. Stick it in the fridge, stick it in the fridge.
Tonight, coming to you from Ocean, New Jersey, down the street. In my opinion, one of the 3 or 4 best New Jersey beers released every year, coming to you from the Kane Brewing Company. It is last year's, so it's been aging for a year in my basement. Sunday Brunch, 9.2% alcohol by volume. Nice little glass there. Little shout out to Kane. And I'm doing the bottle tonight, so that'll be an interesting show. Kane Brewing Company, can't recommend them enough. They are on top of the world here in New Jersey, in my opinion. And let's throw it over to Denville, New Jersey, and see what Brett has to say. How are you, bud?
Hey, bud. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing.
No, excellent. I second your nomination or recommendation as Kane being that beer itself being one of the top 3 or 4 that Jersey produces every year. And Kane being on top of the world. So good assessment.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I start my review with a message, and the message is to the children that listen to the podcast.
I believe they're the future.
They are, and to parents of children. And my message is simple. My message is this: eat your vegetables. Eat your vegetables. No, take your vitamins. No, say your prayers, but eat your vegetables.
That's later in the show. Don't worry.
Yeah. And I say that because I was proud of my son today. My son, for lunch, requested a giant plate of broccoli. And that's what he ate. He ate broccoli for lunch. And his dad,
Not so much, his dad.
well, his dad, oddly enough, tonight is drinking broccoli from Other Half. I used to have a favorite beer from them called Double Dry Hop Double Mosaic Dream. This has now supplanted itself above that as my favorite beer from Other Half. It is absolutely fantastic. Imperial IPA, surprise, surprise. But there's just that extra bit of juiciness, extra bit of like citrus on the nose. It kills it. It goes down so smooth. I think it's like 7.9%. It's absolutely perfect. There's no flaw in this beer whatsoever. So eat your vegetables. But if you're over 21 and you enjoy beer, you can also drink your vegetables in broccoli.
It's an interesting psychedelic can they're rocking there.
Yeah. I got one next week too. That will look even more psychedelic. So for those of us that are watching on Facebook Live.
Very cool. Very
something
cool.
to look forward to.
We may have some people checking in as the show goes on. So just kind of bear with us. If we get somebody else jump in, we'll ask them what they got. You ready?
Let's do this.
All right.
Who cares?
So this first one is maybe my happiest moment that I've had all sporting year so far in 2018. The phrase dilly dilly has been banned in Augusta National this weekend.
Indeed it has.
What's your take on it?
Here's my take. Out of all things, that's what you're going to ban.
Well, they're done banning women, so I guess
that seems oddly particular. One, two. On the other side of this, to be honest with you, like I never got why people did yell things immediately after golfers were done swinging, like upon contact. Why yell mashed potatoes? After somebody
or it's in the hole, like
rips a drive. Yeah, like what's the point, really? Listen, this is Augusta being Augusta and acting, like their shit doesn't stink, and they have the authority to ban phrases, and I guess they went with a popular one right now. So whatever, but it seems silly to me. I liked their response, Bud Light's response.
I have it here. Should I read it?
Yeah, go ahead. That's awesome.
So I guess they must have posted it just online, right? To like whatever their social media is, I guess.
Yeah, maybe via Twitter or something. I don't know.
Like that. But anyway, it's like an old timey written note, on like old parchment looking thing. Like they're still following. They're still, they won't give that gimmick up, right? Kayfabe only. It says, "Hear ye, hear ye. Your king hath received word that the guards of the Green Jacket plan to escort any patron who dare utter dilly dilly off yon premises. Except for myself, I am against tyranny in all forms. So I have instructed my royal tailors to make 1,000 dilly dilly shirts that shall be delivered to Georgia in time for the festivities. For if thou cannot say dilly dilly, thou can still wear dilly dilly. Yours in friendship and beer." And then whatever the hell, they're like King Hops or something stupid. Always calling himself. Oh no, King John Barley. Sorry, it's worse than that. It's funny though. I mean,
thought so.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously it's a money grab. Steve Hilly checking in on Facebook. If Bud Light were a sponsor, it would probably be allowed. So clearly it's tied to some sort of deal that's probably on the premises with alcohol, don't you think?
Probably goes something. It probably goes that deep. I would assume that if AB InBev was a sponsor of the Masters, this wouldn't be an issue.
Right.
So
they'd be selling the dilly dilly. They'd be selling dilly dilly green shirts if they were a sponsor.
The dilly dilly green jacket.
Right. Exactly.
Who cares?
Sticking with the Masters, you got we're going to touch base a little bit on the actual tournament later, but you got next year a women's amateur tournament has been added. In hopes of quote growing the game. I don't know. I mean, they're doing stuff there now, right? Wasn't there like a
par 3 was today?
Does anybody watch that except for Trey Wingo?
Not really. Not really. There was a cool moment like a couple of years back, maybe when like Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler hit holes in one. What's that called when the consecutive
Back to back.
and a belly to belly? That was fun, but no, not really. And no one that's ever won the par 3 has won the Masters. So, what do you really do? It's nice though, man. I'm like, listen, if I was up and coming in this game and someone said to me, hey, do you want to play a day earlier and play all the par 3s? And okay, I would love to play Augusta. So
Of course.
that's just me.
Of course. But to Steve Healy checking in again on Facebook, nobody's ever yelled it's in the hole and then it's gone in the hole, right? So the only time that could ever happen probably is on that one of those par 3s, but nobody says that.
Yeah, just take your statistical odds and just sit on like the first par 3 and just yell it's in the hole.
But do you think that the women's tournament being added next year is a PR stint? Do you think it actually will help the game? I mean, what do you have an opinion on it at all, or is it?
I think it'll probably help the women's amateur game. Because wouldn't you want to try and compete next year, knowing that you could go to Augusta?
Yeah, I guess
that's about it for me. I would think, but if that would technically be growing the game, so they're not incorrect in that statement. Do I think it's going to double the ratings of the Masters next year? No,
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm interested. When are they going to play it? Because they did the par 3 was today.
Tuesday.
Do you think Tuesday?
I don't know, because the guys go down there and play practice rounds, Monday, Tuesday. Like Tiger and Phil played a practice round this week early. That was hot news for a second.
Wonder if his Buddhism's strong this week.
I am so excited, dude. Like literally, I'm going to go to work a little early tomorrow just so I can set up and get this and watch a little bit before.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. The women's amateur, will you watch it?
No. Sorry. No.
That's the point. The Arizona Board of Regents are going to vote this week whether to add language to men's basketball coach Sean Miller's contract that would require him to return $1 million if he's charged with a crime or found guilty of a major NCAA violation. Does this matter? Like it's definitely precedent setting, right?
Yeah, right. This is finally a school being like, we're going to get some back, which is not a bad.
We're going to get something back, but notice it doesn't say that they're going to fire him.
No.
Right?
I mean, if he's charged with a crime, they're going to fire him. And I would assume,
but if it's an NCAA violation from the Fugazi organization,
yeah. If it's one of those Duke, UNC, not Duke, I shouldn't put them in there with that. But
that's out of your mouth right there.
If it's one of those, well, there's plenty Fugazi about Duke, but we won't accuse them of that. I'll accuse North Carolina of things like this. If it's one of those things,
accuse North Carolina. They literally don't send kids to class.
Right, and Roy Williams is still there.
Right.
So. If it's something like that, then maybe, that doesn't say they're going to fire him. Right. But it's, I guess, smart on them, it is, you're right. It's precedent setting. So, we'll probably see more of that in the future as a way for these universities, these poor, impoverished universities to get some of their investment back.
It's true. I mean, they are clearly the charitable organizations in these situations. Hey Nick, how are you, man?
Hey guys, don't fret. I'm here.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Rid of the just orgasm, and now.
Oh, okay.
That was weird. That's a weird way to start the show, Nick.
Welcome. I mean, it's good that you're here.
Jump right in. Dry hump. Was that dry hump?
I don't know. You said it.
Yeah.
What? Dry hump. Nice.
You're just arguing with yourself. It's crazy. Chris Gannon asked where you were. He was nervous about you coming in on Who Cares Hot. What are you drinking?
After a long day at work, what's better than a classic beer that you just drank 3 weeks ago? Nice Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Hey, that's better than a Brooklyn lager that could be sitting in your refrigerator from last.
No, those are gone.
They're replaced by Flying Fish now.
The only guy that was
the best part about
that was drinking a Brooklyn sampler for 10 weeks.
The best part about doing this podcast is I just have a nice graveyard to my left of all the beers I've drank over the last 3 weeks. So I have the empty Pale Ale, I have the empty River Horse, and I have last week's empty Russian Imperial Stout.
For those
recycling.
Yeah, for those of you that are checking in on Facebook Live, I do this podcast from my Buffalo Bill looking lair basement Would you? And I have like a million empties sitting over here. It's the worst.
Just too lazy to throw them out, even though it's only like 20 steps to my right.
Lucky my wife hasn't disowned me yet. That's fine. Nick, did you see that Arizona Board of Regents is going to vote on whether to add language to Sean Miller's contract that would require him to return $1 million if he's charged with a crime or found guilty of a violation?
I didn't see that detail, but it sounds juicy.
Juicy, very juicy, because he's probably the only guy that's tied up in any of this, right?
Who cares?
As first reported here on Low and Outside, Penny Hardaway is in fact now the coach of the Memphis Tigers. Did any of you catch who his first recruit is?
Lil Penny.
Close. Close.
No, I didn't see.
Who was the voice of Lil Penny? Was it Chris Rock?
I don't remember. I think
it might have been Chris Rock. It's not Lil Penny. It's the closest thing to Lil Penny. It is his son, Jaden.
Wow. Great job. that recruiting trip must have been.
He cast that net. He cast that net wide. He was like, who can I go and get? I'll just bring my son. That's cool.
Do you think he had to like sit down in his own living room in his own house and talk to his son and pitch it to his wife?
That would be like if he set up a full-length mirror in front of him.
Yeah. And he just pitched it while also listening to himself pitch it as father, but coach.
I just wonder, do you think it was a part of the deal? You think he was like, listen, I'm coming here, but my kid's coming? Like, the kid might be excellent. I have no idea. The kid might be an awesome.
Let's just assume he's terrible because it's funnier.
The old Doc Rivers.
Listen, Austin Rivers was a legitimate, at least college basketball player. He's not really an NBA player, but
exactly.
He deserved the spot on the college roster. I don't know about leaving after 1 year like he did. Memphis, you haven't been good since freaking, Calipari.
Calipari, yeah.
Giancarlo Stanton was booed in the Bronx after he struck out 5 times.
Old news. He was cheered today.
Oh, okay. Well, then in that case.
That was short-lived.
It cracks me up when these friggin' fans start like just booing these guys. Like the guy, first of all, it was like snowing, right? He grew up in California. He's played in Miami. He's probably never played in a game that's that cold with that big of a home debut in his entire life.
Yeah, it was just a shit day, man. Like, what are you gonna do about it?
It sucks that he struck out 5 times. It's not like anybody was looking for that.
It does. It blows. But he hit a 2-run shot today. His first at bat. It was a friggin' missile. So he'll be.
You can't boo the guy though.
They were just miserable because they're sitting in the cold.
Listen, I remember. Let's see. This had to be 2006. I think this was opening day of 2006, and third pitch into the game. Pop fly, foul territory. A-Rod gets under it, loses it, and it falls. The place boos him. Susan Wallman goes, well, for those scoring at home, it took 3 pitches this season for the fans to boo A-Rod. And that's one of the
scoring at home.
And that was like
good
one.
That was, Susan.
He first of all was one of the funnier things
she's ever said.
Second of all, might have been 05, but it was like he was coming off an MVP year. And it's 3 pitches in, he drops a pop fly and they boom. So
yeah, but they probably only remember when he choked in the playoffs that year, probably.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe that left him in a bad taste.
I'm just assuming that every year before 2009, he was just god awful in the playoffs, and he probably was.
It's not. There is one caveat. He had a really good 04. When they blew it. He had a really
right.
He had a really good playoff, and they're not facing the Red Sox, if not for him crushing the Minnesota Twins in the divisional round. So that was it, though. But that was the smallest sample size of him. Every other time he was blowing it until 09.
When I think I've told this story on air, but when I was in college, I did a documentary, me and my buddy from college, on the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry, and we took a ride up to Boston, and we were there for like a 5-game series that they did because they had a couple of rainouts, and the Yanks swept all of them. And the front page of the Boston newspapers were just like, it was like the apocalypse. It was like the biggest news in the world. But one of the best shirts that I saw, Nick, you'd appreciate this at the time because it was before A-Rod had, they'd won a World Series and blah, blah, blah. It just said A-Rod, auto shop. And it had a picture of an engine in the middle. And it just said open April through September, no clutch. was
Funny.
brilliant. It was brilliant, especially in Boston. It was brilliant. Like I'm sure the guy sold 1 million of them.
Funny.
Whatever.
Who cares?
What do we got here? Oh, your boys, Brett. Your boys made a deal.
They did. The Pats traded Brandon Cooks for number 1 pick to the Rams. The Rams, all right, are they going to be good, or are they going to be literally the most disappointing team we ever watched? Because I feel like every player,
It's got to be one or the other, right?
yeah, is on that team. Like I just, oh yeah, they're on the Rams. Anyway, so yeah, Jeff, you were sending chatter today that they now have the 2 first rounders. That's the starting point of talking with the Giants for Odell Beckham. But I don't really see that happening.
You're the Giants. You're not taking those 2 garbage end of the first round picks for Odell Beckham. Like, what are you going to get for that?
I don't know. I
I'm
mean,
not-
I would listen if I'm the Giants. I'm not making the deal, but I don't know. It looks like they might listen. Belichick is never crazy about actually using those first round picks, but I think the time is now to maybe possibly start thinking about a quarterback in your future, and you could use one of those to move up. I don't know.
I heard today that they had however many picks they had last year. They didn't make a single selection in the original slot that they had last year.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Out of every single slot.
He moves and shakes nonstop. He really does. But some of their players actually from this past draft class were pretty good. I'm okay with them offensively. I mean, you might have to look at the O-line, address it somewhere a little bit, but if you can get Brady, Edelman, and Gronk together and everybody's healthy, then you're all right mostly offensively.
Gronk doesn't retire. Loyal, low and outside listener Anthony Sanfilippo was checking in on Twitter this morning. He said the Pats get Randy Moss for a 4th rounder, and they trade Cooks for a 1st rounder. They swindle better than Han Solo.
Nice.
Yeah, that's true.
They actually got a higher 1st round pick than they traded for Cooks, and got him on 1 year of his rookie contract.
Which is crazy. I mean, it's like who's doing these deals like with them? Like, I don't get it, man. They just always
They must hang up the phone and they're probably like, we just got screwed, but whatever.
Yeah, but they did get screwed, but who are they getting in the 1st round that's better than Brandon Cooks?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you put it in perspective, like no matter what receiver you draft in the 1st round, he's not going to be better than Brandon Cooks.
The only downside is you're going to have to either franchise him at the end of this year, or you're going to have to commit to him long term. You know what I mean? And the Pats weren't going to do either of those things. So
bye-bye.
I'm not committing to him until my quarterback situation in the next 3-4 years is figured out. And it's not yet. So
it's Tom Brady.
Whatever,
I can't deal with you. You're the worst.
Who cares?
RG3 is back. Signed a 1-year deal with the Ravens.
He looks good in purple.
How crazy is this? All right. Do you guys remember? I mean, this is part of the reason why I hate the draft so much. You remember the RG3 Andrew Luck, like
hype train?
Yeah. And this guy's the number 2 pick. He hasn't. It's 6 years ago. He hasn't played since 2016. He won the rookie of the year the 1st year.
He was a stud in that rookie year.
So he goes from like the highest of highs in a year to he's out of the league 3 years later.
But time out. Like legitimately playing for one of the most poorly run organizations in sports.
Yeah, I mean, from the Redskins to the Browns wasn't exactly a gift for him.
I mean, I don't think he's going to beat out Flacco, but I don't think that it's the same thing as with Kaepernick. Like, I think he could be a starting quarterback in this league somewhere. I don't think he can stay healthy and play 16 games, but yeah, I think he's talented enough to play somewhere.
Listen, Kaepernick can 100% be a starting quarterback in this league. RG3 is probably a very good, very serviceable backup. Like
you think so? You don't think that he has starting ability?
Yeah, but his knee is shot.
Exactly. I get nervous with quarterbacks and knees. It's just too nerve-wracking.
I feel like you could like send him down to work with one of those stupid quarterback gurus, or like Jeff Garcia or some stupid guy that they.
Yeah, but what has he been doing the last 5 years though? He's
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All these idiots go and they work out with one of these quarterback gurus, and then suddenly they're the hottest thing going, and then somebody picks them up and they either performer. They don't look. Bottom line is if Geno Smith can continue to get tread as a possible starter in the league, I mean, he just signed in LA, so he's not going to start over Phillip Rivers. But Geno Smith started a game in the National Football League last year over Eli Manning. You can't tell me that Robert Griffin III isn't a better option than Geno Smith. I'm sorry, you just can't do it.
I truly don't know.
You don't know. You don't know if he's a better option than Geno Smith.
No, I really don't.
That might be the dumbest friggin' thing you've ever said on this show.
I disagree. I don't really think very highly of RG3.
But you don't think he's better than Geno Smith? Geno.
Yeah, I mean, Geno's pretty terrible. He really is. I'm not going to sit here and say like Geno's good, but I don't think RG3 is very good either. So like, would I take the guy with legs and knees or without legs and knees? And I'm kind of like, maybe I take the guy with legs and knees. I don't know.
Listen, I'm just saying this. RG3 clearly after the ACL was a different player. I get that. And I think that was everybody's biggest concern going into the whole thing. But it's not as if he had no arm. So you can't tell me that you can't teach that guy to have more of a pocket game. I just think he's got more value than I think the league has allowed him to be. I don't think he's a Pro Bowler necessarily, but I think he could be something. You clearly don't agree. Nick, you don't agree either, huh?
Click it.
Who cares?
The Mets were on Facebook today.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Did you watch it?
No, but I saw Boomer Esiason tweeted out something like he was trying to stream it, and it was like, it's currently unavailable. He's like, now what? Like, give me a break.
I heard him talking this morning. He look, there's just a generation of people that are just don't get it. You just don't freaking get it. Within 3 years, cable's gone, guys. Like, max 5 years, cable's gone. ESPN just rolled out their $5 a month streaming service that's going to require a ton of work, but they're going to put an NHL game on every single night. Like, it's over. Cable's over.
I don't disagree, but you got to get it right, man. Like, you can't have buffering.
No, that's a big no-no.
A live event.
You know what company you're talking about here? This is a company that has every single person in the world that we're on right now. Hi, Mark Zuckerberg. This is a company that has every single person's personal information, was a part of an election that was influenced by a foreign country, whether you believe that they actually won the election. None of that matters. Bottom line is there were Russian trolls that were involved in the whole thing. There were companies that were buying and selling. Like, this is not exactly the American Red Cross we're talking about here. Like, this is not a company that has their crap together. It was founded by a guy who stole intellectual property from people and paid them off.
Surely. I'm not
here. They're not going to get it right, but they're too big to fail.
But that's the problem. That's why all these guys are angry. That's why all these old guys are angry, because their games are buffering. There's fucking thumbs up and hearts going across the screen.
Yeah, what the hell is that? I don't want to see people's comments when I'm trying to watch a game.
That shit is
turn that off.
That shit is
annoying.
You can of course you can turn it off, but you know, these guys are fucking 60 years old. You know, like, you think they're just gonna be like, oh, let me click my setting right here.
Who's Little Princess? And why don't you want to suck Noah Syndergaard off?
Yeah, like
wow. That's aggressive right there.
It's weird for them. And part of me really gets that. I can't never tell if it's sympathize or empathize, but I one of those thizes with them.
Yeah, you're definitely thizes, I think.
But I get it, and that's annoying. And
nothing's more annoying than like a pixelated screen when you're trying to watch a live event. That just bothers me beyond like all ends.
Yeah, just all I'm saying is figure it out, then I'm in.
Right. But when there's a giant 60-inch flat screen, you know, on my wall that's not being used, and I have to watch on my laptop that's all pixelated and buffering, like, why do I want to do that?
There's two things there. One, you know, they're converting to smart TVs. So your TV will eventually become whatever that is. That's just the nature of what it is, whether you have one now or not.
Right.
Whatever. Two, there's one company that does it well, and it's MLB.TV. Right?
Yeah, I'm actually watching MLB TV.
MLB TV is, from my understanding, the primary live sports streaming company for almost every single live stream that's successfully executed in the country.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
They are the driving force behind the WWE network, which I've said this week in and week out. Professional sports is taking a page out of Vince McMahon's playbook. He's been doing this now for 6 years, 7 years. How long has that network been going, Nick? Do you even know? I mean, a long time. And
I would say about 8 years. Yeah.
He's going direct to the consumer. It's a totally new revenue stream. I said on this show, at the beginning of this show, that these leagues are going to eventually produce their own games and they're going to go direct to the consumer. And I think Facebook Live is the first step to that for baseball.
So you think there's going to be an NFL streaming
And
app?
NFL did it. NFL did it with Yahoo these past like 1 or 2 years.
But they can't do it exclusively now because they still are getting this huge cable money.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So what it'll end up being is a model where they still have the Super Bowl on your networks. They still have maybe some playoffs on your networks, and they still have like Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football, and everything else will be streamed, and it'll all be produced by the league. So they'll still get that revenue stream from the networks, but then everything else will be direct consumer, and it'll just be out of control.
Maybe.
I really think that's where it's heading. But I don't know how the hell we got talking. Why is everything goes back to the NFL?
Who cares?
Oh wait, wrong button.
Who cares?
$100,000, boys. Staying home.
Proud of
Staying
you.
in house, going to the new, refurbishing the studio.
Proud of you. Very proud.
You're looking at the winner of the no cost to the consumer loan outside NCAA tournament bracket here. Villanova taking it to the house, killing it. Not only are they keeping the $100,000 in play, but who did they beat?
Big Blue.
And who have I been killing for weeks?
Michigan. Finally, you're right.
Yeah, they ran up against the
Hang
best.
your hat on that one.
Hang your hat on the fact that they lost to the best team far and away.
It's funny that like the hottest take that we've had on this podcast has just blown up into like the most opposite way we wanted it to go.
Yep.
Although I will say this, I think that not only are they the buzzsaw from this year, I think you can make an argument that this Villanova team didn't get anywhere near the love that they should have in the historical context, because they didn't win a game in this tournament by less than 10 points. That hasn't happened since 2009.
That's impressive.
I mean, that's crazy.
It's a dominant tournament.
And do you remember that West Virginia game? You probably do, because your sister went to West Virginia. Did you watch that game?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I watched the first half actually, and West Virginia was hanging.
They hit him in the mouth.
Yeah, they were hanging.
They were legit, West Virginia.
But that was really the only time that Villanova had to even for a second in the tournament, like possibly worry.
That's when I knew. Like I always thought that they were one of the 4 best teams in the tournament. Obviously,
yeah. I picked them to win. For me, bronze medal. No big deal. No big deal.
But after that game, I was like, they're not losing. They're just not. Like West Virginia just played them. West Virginia played them so tough. I said to my wife while I was watching the game, said, has there ever been a better personification of 2 schools than what these 2 coaches are right here? You got Huggins walking around and
fucking love Huggy Bear.
Basically in a freaking like swishy
like a wind coat.
In a windbreaker, and you got Jay Wright in a $5,000 suit with his Vanilla Nova freaking team on the floor. I mean, it was just totally representative of the 2 places. But to me, they were the best team in this tournament. I said it a couple of weeks ago. The question I have, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time in the tournament because it's over. Do you think, because we do have 3 NBA guys on this podcast, do you think that there's a job in the NBA with the teams that are looking for coaches or could be looking for coaches that could throw enough money at Jay Wright that he would leave Villanova?
New York Knicks.
Yeah, he's Brad Stevens is pretty much, isn't he that? I mean, isn't that exactly what Jay Wright was?
Oh, Jay Wright's better.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like he would translate just as well. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like he would take.
I think you misunderstand my question. My question isn't would Jay Wright succeed in the
okay.
NBA? It's is there a job out there that monetarily and the interest would be there from Jay Wright that he would leave literally running the best program in the country right now, probably making a ridiculous amount of money, totally comfortable, private school, so they'll pay him whatever the hell he wants, big city. Is there a program in the NBA that you think would be attractive enough to lure him away?
Yeah, Nick's right.
You think the Knicks?
Yes.
100%.
If he brought them back to consistent like playoff seasons, you put a freaking statue of him in front of Madison Square Garden.
Fuck it, Jeff. You don't want him? I'll take him in Brooklyn.
No, I'm not saying I don't want him. You misunderstand my reaction. My reaction isn't, oh, I don't want him. My reaction is, I can't see him being like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I'll just leave this awesome job that I have where I totally control everything about what I do and nobody blinks an eye. And I'll go work for James Dolan. Like I can't see it.
Well, it's like the Nick Saban thing, you know, like he has so much control in Alabama and does whatever he wants. You know, would he want to go to an NFL team where the owner kind of has the final say? You know, it's questionable. It depends on his personality. I'm not really sure what kind of personality he has, Jay Wright, if he'd fit in New York or if he wants to take on that big role. But, you know.
I mean, he grew up in Bucks County, PA. He coached at Fordham, so he's coached in the area. He knows what New York is. I think we romanticize what the Knicks are being in this market more than the rest of the country does. And I'm a Knicks fan, so for me, that's a tough pill to swallow. But I don't think, you know, barring a $10 or $11 million a year contract, which they might throw at him, I don't see any real.
Why not? Why wouldn't they throw it at him?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, you win a championship in New York, you die a god. You know, like that's it. Especially,
yeah. But here's the deal, right?
Basketball championship.
I agree with you, but they threw a ton of money at Phil. He was trash.
Yes.
If you're gonna throw $10 million a year at Jay Wright, you're committing to him for 5 or 6 years.
Well, you gotta hope that you're committing to him for 5 or 6 years.
And if
he goes 22 and 60 every
I'm
year.
saying that's what you do. You commit to him, and your expectation is he's going to develop Porzingis. He's going to develop Ntilikina. He's going to develop whatever moron they draft in the first round this year.
Right.
And you're going to rely on the idiot front office
to swing and get some solid veteran pieces around a young core.
And you're going
to didn't they try to do that the last 2 years?
They've tried doing that for the last 20 years.
Yeah, but nobody's like Jeff Hornacek was never the piece. He was never the piece. He was never the coach. It was a joke.
I don't know. I think it's such a
all right. Let's
good fit.
We'll see. To me, I had a conversation with the guy at work today. I said, you know, he just looks like Riley. You know what I mean? Like he would be like Riley 2.0, just walking into the garden. The guy would own the garden immediately.
He's cool as a cucumber, man. On the side, you're right. Has $5,000 suits, just ice in his veins, and like Riley.
But there is something to be said for it. And again, Steve Healy checking in. You know, in all sports, these college guys try it, right? You got he points out Saban tried it, Spurrier tried it, Chip Kelly tried it. Those are all football guys who had success at the top of college football, and then they came to the NFL, and for the most part, they kind of just took a dump on the field. I mean, Kelly had one good year. You lived with Saban, Nick. I mean, would you classify what he did down there as a success?
He had one good year. They were 9-7 his first year, and then he made a huge mistake, and his gut was telling him to sign Drew Brees, and all the team doctors said, no, his shoulder sucks. Sign Dante Culpepper instead. He did. He said, you know, screw this. I'm tired of getting manipulated, and he left. So,
I mean, look, the bottom line is the only way, if I'm Jay Wright, that I'm making that kind of move is the money's got to be at least double what I'm making in Pennsylvania to deal with the spotlight of Madison Square Garden and the taxes that are in New York City. You've got to be paying me on paper double what I'm making at Villanova to go. That's me, and I'm a Nick guy. Like, I would love the guy to come. I think.
Yeah, but what if, you know, wouldn't you just want to leave Villanova on somewhat of a high note versus kind of overstaying your welcome? Maybe they start dwindling down.
Never happened. Never happened.
Never?
No. You know why? He's got 2 national titles. You know how many Jim Boeheim has? 1. Everybody looks at Jim Boeheim as one of the greatest college basketball coaches that have ever existed. Jay Wright has entered into rarefied air. He has the potential, if he stays at Villanova, to be the winningest college basketball coach of all time. He could pass Coach K. He's young enough. So
a long time though.
Of course, but he's already built the culture there that could sustain itself for 20 years. And the money's going to be there. It's not like Villanova's running out of freaking money. I mean, we know people that have gone there. It ain't cheap, man. And as you keep winning national titles, you're telling me they're not going to build facilities for this program. So, I mean, that's the thing, Nick. Of course, you're right, but the money's there. It's not like he's going to hurt for money at this program, and the revenue that he's probably bringing into Villanova.
You're right. I mean, he could want to be in a Coach K type and just kind of sit at the same school for his whole career, which is fine. But I'm not sure, neither are you, if he has that kind of like itch in his body to go do something bigger.
Didn't work for Calipari. Didn't work for Pitino in the NBA. Has kind of worked for Brad Stevens, although I don't think Stevens had ever ascended to that level as a college basketball coach. Trying to think if there's anybody else that was really, really good in college. Coach K scratched the itch with the Olympics. I mean, that's what I think has kept him at Duke. I remember years ago, the Lakers, I guess right after Phil Jackson had bailed, right?
Kobe wanted it. Kobe wanted K.
And he flirted with it. Like, he thought about it because the money was insane. And you go coach Kobe Bryant. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Did you see this DiVincenzo kid that was the most outstanding player? He deleted his Twitter account. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, well, he had to. Some of those.
What did he have tweeting?
Oh, some of those were very problematic.
Did you see them? I didn't see what they were. I heard they were mostly rap lyrics, is what I heard.
Yeah, sure. There were some. I saw one with an N-word in it. Just weird stuff, man. Licking butts and fucking.
I love. Oh, yeah. Delete that. Yeah, delete that immediately.
Yeah, and
Tranny.
telling his dad, calling him a pussy. I don't know, just weird stuff that, like, you just got to be like, yeah, you can't. He was definitely tweeting that at like 16. So
yeah,
that's the shit that you just tweet when you're 15 years old and you don't think about it,
and then you're the most outstanding player in the.
Yeah, and somebody's like, oh, what's that? 4 years ago, you like talking about having your butt licked? Check it out.
Sure.
Nice, bro.
Yeah, good times. I think you put this, Brett. Do you think that most of their team returns?
It's possible, right? Like they have a pretty good core intact there. It's only like 2 guys maybe that major guys that might leave. I just feel like just basically, is it possible we see this again next year? From them, and I think it's a possibility.
Anything is possible. All I know is winner, chicken dinner.
John Anthony.
Let's do what we haven't done in a long time on this show.
Yes.
And that's give a little love to the National Hockey League. Most specifically, the MVP candidate, which you can't ignore, Taylor Hall.
He's pretty lit. He's pretty fucking lit.
He's super lit.
I mean, what do you say? 93 points, chasing down the regular season all-time record of 96 by Elias in 2000, 2001. And
one would think he's going to get that.
He's got 2 games to get 3 points to tie it. He had a 4-point
games
night.
Left.
He had 4-point night last night. Just an incredible shorthanded goal.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
The other night.
Helps that it's against the Rangers too. Not bad.
Yeah, Rangers. He lit up that penalty shot. He's just been on fire, man. He's involved in every play, and that's what's impressive about him. And he's got a career high now for himself in points, and he's just really come into his own this year. And I love it, and I want him to be here a long time, because with him, and if they can repair a little bit of the defense, they're heading in the right direction. Sammy Vatanen's been great for them as well, on the top line on defense. So this team is really starting to come together, and they deserve to go to the playoffs, and they're almost there. So
they're really fun. You know what I mean? Like,
the only thing, yeah.
As a Devil fan, of our age, Brett, like, we grew up watching some really, really successful Devil teams.
Yeah.
None of them were this fun.
No, because they were like, we'll just suffocate you.
And they did. And I'm a defense guy in every sport, so like I enjoyed that.
And like if you broke through, then you got to the best goaltender of all time, and then you had to beat him.
Right.
So it was like, all right, good luck for 15 years.
Right. And it was great. But at this point, like there's an energy about this team
Yes.
that I really have enjoyed. And I have found myself and hockey for me is definitely my third, probably even my fourth sport that I really pay attention to. But I've found myself locked in every night.
Yeah, it's great.
Over the last 2 to 3 weeks, locked in every night that they're playing. And I don't know if it's probably some combination of how they look and some combination of how the fact that most everything else, the exception of the Yankees now, is just a steaming pile of garbage.
Yeah. I mean, well, it doesn't look like the Knicks or the Nets are going to the playoffs. So,
No, probably not.
But
to respond to that, Florida doesn't lose.
no, and it's frustrating.
You can't clinch because they just refuse to lose.
Now they have a game in hand. They got Boston twice. 2 of their last 3 are against Boston. And then one's against Buffalo. I believe Buffalo's god awful. But you got to hope that Boston can at least if basically this is it. If the Devils get a point or if Florida loses it all,
It's over.
it's over.
Right. However, I don't think that the wild card is what we should shoot for at this point.
Well, they're one back of Pittsburgh, with the equal amount of games left. So they have to make up 1 point in 2 games, and that's definitely possible. I don't know if it's probable, but the teams, all these teams in the East are just super freaking good. So it's kind of like, it's like, what are you doing anyway? Are you moving up so you can play Tampa?
Right. It's not exactly a prize.
Yeah, it's not exactly a prize.
Although they played them well this year. Haven't
They have played Tampa well.
I'd rather play Tampa than Boston.
I think so too, based on us matching up. But, I also feel like the other shoe is going to drop on that. Like, yeah, we played Tampa really well in the regular season, but when we get to the playoffs, maybe it's a different story.
Yeah, they smoke us.
Yeah, but, yeah, sure. Boston's very good. Tampa's very good. But, I don't think any team wants to play the Devils right now. Like, I don't think
they're fast as hell and they skate right around you.
I don't think you're looking on the top there and going like, thank God, the Devils are our draw.
The only thing hotter than Taylor Hall is the Devils' Twitter account. Have you guys followed that? I mean, the people that run that account are genius. This morning I woke up and I saw a tweet from them that said, what time is it? And they said it's 5 past Lundqvist.
I saw that. That was good.
That's really funny.
You know what's better about this whole season is that last year was the lowest of the low. They were the basement of the conference. They were terrible. And the fact that the Rangers had been good for like 5 or 6 years in a row while the Devils didn't make the playoffs was just like salt in the wound. Now the Rangers suck and the Devils are back to being a fun team, and it just makes it twice as good.
It does.
Just orgasm. Now.
True. Very true.
I just hate that the Rangers have like a ton of picks coming up, and like they'll probably hit on a couple of those.
Oh, sure.
That's going to annoy me.
Whatever.
But, whatever.
We'll see. I mean, listen, by the next show, everything's wrapped up, right?
Yeah, everything will be wrapped up for the Devils by Saturday.
So we'll have hopefully we'll talk a little playoff hockey this time.
Yeah, I'm down to get some tickets.
Yeah, I am too.
Well, I already did my Lone Outside meetup. I don't know if you saw it. It was very, very well attended.
It went very well received. I'd be intimidated by the playoff crowd, just how many people.
At the boardwalk stand.
Yeah, if you drew that much for a regular season event, I get scared about a postseason one.
We're kind of a big deal. All right, so here's the deal. I had promised last week, and it's gonna be fast. Okay, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this. This weekend is the granddaddy of them all. It's WrestleMania season. For those of you that have hung on to listen to wrestling talk, I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes today. Brett, you are a former wrestling fan, correct?
Sure. I mean, I don't hate on wrestling now.
No, but you're not currently in touch with the product.
I am not in touch with the product.
All right. So the way that this current weekend goes is on Friday night. There is a what's it called? There's an NXT event, right? Which I had no idea what that was.
I did not. I got made fun of last week.
It's essentially a developmental league. All right. So
it's a D league.
They've got their thing going on. Saturday is the Hall of Fame induction. Okay, so I'm gonna run through a list of names here from the Hall of Fame, and as a former fan, I want you to tell me whether, number one, you even recognize who these people are, and two, based on your understanding of them, if you remember them, if you think they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
You understand the parameters here?
Yes.
Okay.
If I've heard of them and if they deserve to be in.
Right. All right. Number one, Bill Goldberg.
Yes. And yes. Yes. Yes and yes, of course.
Okay. Number two, Ivory.
Yes and no.
Okay. Number three, Kid Rock.
What?
The musician.
Yeah. Kid Rock is entering into the celebrity wing, which currently has people
like Muhammad Ali.
Like President Donald Trump.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Kind of went the other way on that one. Muhammad Ali.
Mike Tyson. And Mr. T. Those are the people that are in the celebrity.
Clubber Lang.
So Kid Rock, who's done a couple of WrestleMania performances and theme songs. If you remember, he did the whole
Undertaker, right?
Undertaker, gimmick when he
American
was
Badass. He was the American Badass.
So now that you've heard
that puts him in the Hall of Fame for a couple of shows.
Now that you've heard the other folks that are in the Hall of Fame that are celebrities, Pete Rose too, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Not a group I would want to be associated with.
Right.
But I guess he belongs in.
The only downside, as I see, is that his boy Donald Trump won't be there to introduce him.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Hillbilly Jim.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
That's because you're too young. Mark Henry.
Yes and no.
No. What? No. Yes and yes.
Okay.
The world's strongest man.
Uh-huh.
Nick is very interested in the world's strongest man.
Oh, sure.
The Dudley Boys.
Yes and yes. Tables, ladders, and chairs, man. I mean, come on.
Dudley Boys, as far as I'm aware, the only tag team to hold the WWE/WWF, the WCW, and the original ECW tag team championships.
Yeah, those guys definitely belong.
And the last one here, Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Yes, I will give it for his wrestling career. Yes and yes. Yes
Okay.
and yes.
Well, hold on. Big Show's going in too.
No, he's not.
He's not?
He is inducting Mark Henry.
Oh, he's inducting Mark Henry.
That's insane.
That's a lot of weight on the stage.
Why is Mark Henry getting inducted into? What did he do? What did he ever do?
Former
Sexual chocolate? Was that him?
that was him. Yes.
Come on.
Good memory, Brett.
Get out of here with that.
Former world champion Mark Henry.
That's insane. Somebody must have died who was holding it, and they just gave it to Mark Henry.
I believe former Nation of Domination member Mark Henry.
That is true. Along with Farouk and Bradshaw.
I think no. Bradshaw was not a member of the Nation.
Oh, he wasn't?
No,
No, he wasn't. You're right.
Farouk was.
They were the acolytes.
And then The Rock told him to know his role and shut his mouth, and that was the end of it.
When nobody liked The Rock.
Cool story about The Rock. You know the whole know your role thing? That was like one of his big lines. Apparently, Ron Simmons, that's Farouk's real name. Ron Simmons used to just literally walk around backstage when people would say something he didn't like. He would just tell them to know their role. And Simmons was backstage, and The Rock was cutting a promo where he was literally taking the Nation of Domination over from Farouk on camera. And he announced in the stadium there that Farouk needed to know his role and shut his mouth. And he goes, I just looked at the screen and went, damn.
That's awesome.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Oh, whatever. Mark Henry's going in. All right. So you knew most of those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I think it's a weak class, but that's just me.
I happen
Very
to agree,
weak.
I think.
Nick, as far as the actual card of wrestling goes, is there anything that, as a wrestling fan, you're excited for?
I
Not
would say I'm excited for the AJ Styles match.
yeah.
He's going against Shinsuke Nakamura. I think they're good together.
I think it'll be interesting. I mean, but there's not the typical, like, it looks like you're not going to get Undertaker, which is a shame. There's not that. I just feel like there's not that typical buzz that there is normally around WrestleMania. So
I did
because
not
the big match that they're trying to hype up is the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar fight.
Nobody cares.
But everyone's kind of tired of them, so
nobody cares. Like,
Who cares?
Brock Lesnar can just go away. Just go away. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll have an in-depth breakdown of the card. The return
for 3 minutes next week.
The return of Daniel Bryan this weekend, by the way.
Oh.
Quickly.
You had mentioned right off the bat here some local baseball stuff. You want to talk at all about the locals, or do we want to just?
Oh yeah, I mean, we don't have to talk about them really. It was just kind of hey, the season started.
Mets are hot,
and yeah, the Mets are hot. I think both teams are doing pretty well so far, despite shitty weather.
Harvey looked good.
Yeah.
Good enough to trade.
Yeah, good. Exactly.
Syndergaard got
to play, right?
I would think so.
And
with Scott Boras as his agent, he's going to want like $20 million a year.
He ain't getting that. No fucking chance.
The Padres will pay him.
The Dodgers will pay him. He'll be their long man. All right, so that's it for baseball.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's 5 games in. I don't know.
Yeah, it's early.
All right. The one thing that we definitely did want to do that we haven't discussed, we touched about it right before Nikki came on, was the Masters.
Yes.
We have pulled back the curtain. We have a group text amongst all of us, and there's been a push, I should say, from a contingent of our low and outside membership to throw some money down on Tiger Woods to win this tournament. Brett, you've been kind of a pusher on this discussion.
Yeah, I'm a pusher, Jeff. I'm a pusher.
So tell us why the listener should drop their hard-earned dollars on Tiger Woods, coming off, I think it was 10-1 to win the tournament.
God, that just sounds amazing. Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't won a major in a very long time. So do I feel super confident in Tiger winning this? No, it's not the old days, but I would love to throw a couple bucks on him. His past 2 tournaments, he's there, he's around. And if he's around, then that means he's feeling healthy and he's proven to himself over the past couple months that he can play with these guys again, that, maybe he's not what he once was, but he's able to play with his contemporaries, and just getting out on, Augusta and all of that nostalgia coming back to him, and the fact that he feels healthy and his competitive drive, I just think might be enough to maybe, push him over the edge. People forget the year before he got injured. He came very, very close to winning the Masters. He had a bad break on like 15 or 16 hitting the pin. He hit the flagstick and his ball bounced way out and ran down into, like, I think, water for a penalty when he literally hit the hole, and he cost him like 2 strokes and he wound up falling behind and losing. He finished, I forget, but he finished right up there, but he was just a couple strokes back, and it was really one bad shot on a Sunday. So, I think that course does wonders for him. I think he loves playing it. So, let's do it. Let's throw money on him.
Gold jacket, green jacket, who gives a shit?
So we'll see. What do you think, Nick? Do you think he's going to win it?
Absolutely not. He'll blow his back out on Saturday morning, and then it'll be done.
Tata says I need a Becky out of me.
I don't see that. But there's a lot of good golf to be played coming up starting tomorrow.
A lot of guys that are good, right?
A lot of hot young guys.
There's always gonna be that one dark horse that comes out of nowhere. It's like that guy still plays, and he's like finishes like 4th.
Yeah, it's gonna be somebody like Vijay Singh.
Yeah, like some guy, you're like, that guy's not retired yet.
Yeah, nobody's heard of.
Is Vijay Singh still playing golf?
Yeah, he's on the leaderboard. He'll be on the leaderboard Sunday.
You know who always makes a push in the Masters?
Ernie Els.
Fred Couples,
always.
Yeah, Freddie hangs around until the weekend.
If you can see behind me, I actually have a Masters plaque there, a signed Masters plaque of Freddie Couples. Right there.
Freddie loses it on Saturday. They call move up day.
Yeah.
Freddie moves down immediately every Saturday. He's like one shot off the lead off Friday, and then he throws in like a 7 over.
He's reverse red shirt Tiger is
Yeah.
what he is.
And then that's it. But I love him. I love Freddie.
All right, so you're putting money on Tiger though.
I put money on Tiger, but watch out for all of these guys, man. Even Bubba Watson, he's won 2 of them. Bubba, Phil, Ricky, Justin, Jordan,
Rory.
He's Tiger. This is going to be great.
True.
I love me a tranny.
All right, let's go to the end.
Whoa.
Hang on, bartender. Give me one more of those scotch and Peptos. I got a case of squirts, but I still want to drink.
All right, gentlemen, it is the end of this evening's show. Nikki, is there anything in the world of sports that we have not yet addressed that you think needs to be addressed this week before we close it out?
No, if the Devils make the playoffs, I'm going to get some tickets. Anyone that wants to join me, feel free. Hopefully we'll be back at the Rock cheering on the Big Red Machine.
All right, we'll tweet it out if you at Low Outside Sport. If when we make the playoffs, when you choose what game you're going to go to, we'll make it happen. All right, Brett,
all right, let's go.
What do you got, Brett?
Nothing big, but just so you guys know, Drake is at the Raptors Celtics game right now tonight, and I know we have an interview coming up with him.
Yeah, apologies to Drake. We're not.
Is he going to go into the locker room for that, or?
Man, we're not going to get to him.
My apologies to Drake. We ran out of time.
I thought Mike was going to be on.
No, Mike's on a little bit of a sabbatical. He's having a little bit of beef with Boomer Esiason, so he's taking it easy.
He's making an announcement soon, though, huh? Right? April 1st was finished with his non-compete.
Well, we still have him under contract, so it's fine.
Okay, well, all right. Exciting.
All right, number one. Okay. You see that? That's all you had?
Yeah, I just, I was going to say we were going to call Drake and have a nice interview with him during the halftime of this game, but I guess we.
That's a shame.
I think halftime's about to end too. So apologies to Drake. Right. We'll get to you next week. Couple things. Your boy Julian Edelman apparently helped thwart a school shooter. Did you see that?
I saw the title. I did not the headline. I did not.
What did he do?
Like, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if like Edelman was like in the school and drop kicked a guy that was like had a gun, or if like Edelman like talked to a kid one time at a school.
No, I think what happened was that some kid wrote on his, I guess it was his Twitter account. That
if the Pats don't win the Super Bowl, I'm gonna murder.
No. It was he basically was like, I'm gonna shoot a.
Wow.
Somebody was like, there's a kid making threats. You might want to call the police, and he did.
Oh, all right.
Found like weapons in the kid's house and whatever else at this point. Welcome to America in 2018.
Hey, way to be, Jules, though. Way to be. Just a class act, man. Just like all of them.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Apparently, your boy Michael Jordan, who has clearly indicated to everybody,
Michael B. Jordan,
that the ceiling is the roof. He is going to hire Mitch Kupchak, your former boy from the Los Angeles Lakers, as the Hornets general manager / head of basketball operations. Good hire or bad hire?
All right, on the real, how old is Mitch Kupchak?
I don't know. Somebody Google him.
I feel like that guy, he is 60. He's only 63.
Yeah.
I thought Mitch Kupchak was 63 when Shaq and Kobe were on the Lakers.
So good hire or bad hire?
Yeah, sure, man. Take him. Yeah.
That's
good hire or bad hire. Who gives a shit about the Charlotte Hornets?
He's got roots in that area. He went, he went to UNC, Kupchak. So
I could not care less about the Charlotte Hornets or what Michael Jordan's doing.
All right.
I can. They're two names that, ring
they mean
out.
A lot to you.
They ring out in the streets, yo. Whatever that means. I heard that on The Wire once.
Oh, sure.
It's good. I like that one.
Same old dry hump.
Thanks for taking the time, everybody. We appreciate you checking in. Check us out, lowandoutside.com. For those of you that are wrestling fans heading into WrestleMania week, we got Ryan the Disaster Ryzik, put up a fill out an editable bracket in the spirit of March Madness where you can pick what is the greatest wrestler of all time. There is a article there that you can go to and kind of go through there. So if that is or ever was your jam, there's some names on there that obviously are really old school that you can kind of go through. It's a fun little thing. So give him a little bit of love. We do appreciate that. And then we'll touch base next week. Hopefully we'll have some playoff hockey to discuss. We will brag about our Tiger winnings. Maybe we'll roll the $100,000 into that, Brett.
Yeah, why don't you do that? That's a good payout. 10-1.
You never know.
Hello.
Oh, do you want to be? The question is, Jeff, do you want to be a millionaire by Sunday night?
If I had $1 million, well, I guess that I'd be rich, right? Isn't that kind of how it goes?
That fucking Instagram beefcake.
See everybody.
Desperandum, dear lady, across the desert lies the promised land.
Sir.
Goodbye, Mrs. Gloop.
Sir.
You, Auf Wiedersehen, Gesundheit, farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well